It's Jean Va of the podcast show Live Life, Be Happy 24/7. Guys, I'm happy to see you again. I know we were on a little vacation, but guess what? You did catch our Hollywood episode, and we really had a blast. We really did miss you, but right back in again. So we're all happy. We have an amazing team here today, an amazing guest. But before we go on, I just want to always, I like to kind of give a little shout out and love to our audience out there in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, in Turkey, and also in Ghana. So again, much love, like I always say. Now, today we have an amazing guest, Regina Riley from the Iowa tribe of Oklahoma, Higher Education Director. So I'm so excited right now. Regina, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, and this was long overdue, and I'm so happy that you were able to, be a part of this amazing thing. I want the audience and the world to kind of, share the wonderful things that you guys are doing. And like I said, you're not a guest, you're families. That's the way I see it as. All right. All
That's
right.
right. Let her in. Ed Cafe family. Woo-hoo.
That's right, right. And Meg, I see you down there. How you doing there, Meg?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everyone?
We're doing great. We're doing great. And Karen, always happy as everything. I'm happy to have you guys back at AQ. I see you on the top there. Nice to have you here as well.
Always.
Hey,
Now,
Jean, I got to tell you a little secret, man. So we had that week off, and it was a good time, do 10 episodes, take a week off. But I heard it from my mother. She texted me on Sunday, and she said, "Where's your show? What are you doing? What am I supposed to watch?" So, guys, I don't know if we could take another vacation like that or not. She did not take too kindly.
well, tell mom we're back in the flow of things again, and happy for her support as well. And like I said, this is a platform that we want to share with everybody. So again, we're happy to be back. I always like to just kind of jump right into things. So, Regina, I would love for you to tell the audience out there a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. Anytime we get the opportunity to talk about Indian education, we just love sharing that platform because, Native Americans were the first people. And so they've always been here. So Indian education is really, it's an everybody issue. And so I appreciate that opportunity to be able to come and talk about it. But my name is Regina Riley, and I'm the Higher Education Director for the Iowa tribe of Oklahoma. And so I wear many hats here. I'm also the youth advisor. We have two youth groups, a talking circle and a unity group. So the talking circle is about 6th grade to 15, and the unity is ages 14 to 24. And so those are leadership that foster academic conversations and things like that, activities. I also manage the library. I do K-12 private school scholarships. We do higher education scholarships. And here at the Iowa tribe, they believe in higher education is college, university, trade school, VOTEC, anything that's going to be able to hire that education, we fund for that. I also do a scholarship preparatory program, and we start with our 6th grade students actually learning to build a scholarship portfolio. And so that's something new since 2016. And I also do the job placement and training. So kind of once you're in 6th grade, or even if you're in private school, I oversee all that through adulthood. So.
Okay. Well, that's really nice, Regina. And I have to say, kudos to you. There's so many moving parts here. I'm like, wow, pretty amazing, pretty amazing. What I wanted to ask you is, how is the learning process working for the tribal educational department?
Well, are you talking about this year, the learning process for this year? Actually, I'm going to state that this year was better than expected. It's better for us as a department this year, even though our students may be struggling during this pandemic. But it actually fostered more conversations, brought more people in to visit with the tribal education program. And so that, in a wraparound way, has been a better environment for fostering that wraparound through education. So.
Okay, all right. Now, I don't want to be greedy here because I know my team, they're waiting to ask more questions, but I just have one more question to ask. Now, what has been your experience with the start of school this year?
So we've had increased education plans. So more people have coming in, but there's lack of resources. There's a great digital divide. There's lots of struggles that we're trying to find creative ways to overcome. So I think that everybody is in that situation, regardless if you're tribal education or mainstream education or a private school versus public school. Everybody's struggling right now. So that's just the reality of it.
All right, all right. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Sherry. I see Meg, waiting to jump right in. So Meg, I'm just going to give it to you. But Regina,
Uh,
thank you for answering those questions.
yeah, she just answered one of them. I was just wanting to know, have the families and students really been struggling with education this year? And I know you've done an amazing job. You do wear a lot of hats, and like just amazing what you do. And so, what are some of the things other than like the digital piece, or maybe the having the resources? What do you feel like they've been struggling the most with, other
Well,
than those two?
and we're a very rural community. So we're a small tribe, and we're in a very rural community in Oklahoma. And so a lot of the lack of resources um, are just pending where they live. So where our
Really?
tribe and where our people live is very remote. And so when you had lack of internet access because it wasn't available, that was something that was a hindrance, maybe an inconvenience, but the tribe always was able to offer Wi-Fi and the computer labs and things like that. But now it's crucial. So
Right.
you're
Yeah.
really left behind if you don't have internet. And many places around our tribe, they can't get internet. So internet's not accessible. Or just trying to find out how to do it. Sometimes it's satellite. Sometimes it's hotspots. It's just different ways to find resources. So regardless of your socioeconomic background, sometimes resources just aren't available.
Got it. Yeah. And tell us about, you got a Title VI funding. There was a federal grant, 1975. It started. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we don't actually get those grants. So the public school systems gets the grants. And so we're an education department. And so we are tied to the Indian Education Act of 1972 is within the tribal consultation. And so now that we have left No Child Left Behind and we're back to ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act, schools that have more than $40,000 worth of funding, they have to mandatorily consult with the local tribes. And most of the schools here in Oklahoma try to hit a 50-mile radius, or if they have a large number of that tribe's members and within their school, they'll
Yeah.
invite us to consult. So we have tribal consultation with them. And
Right.
then a lot of people don't know, but even in Title I funding, tribal collaboration is required. And so bringing the stakeholders to the table is something that Every Student Succeeds Act has implemented. And within Oklahoma, I think we had a tribal consultation guide that went out in 2017. And so it gave a format, it kind of gave a blueprint of how everybody should come to the table, how all the stakeholders should come to the table, and this is what it should look like. And one thing Oklahoma was really good with the 39 tribes that we have here in Oklahoma is it's a fostering environment of not a one and done. So we are actually invested into the school systems as far as partnerships. They are invested into us as far as collaboration. So it's just when both sides of the table are present, then it's just a win-win. It's a win-win for our Iowa tribal students, Native students in general, and the entire school population. So.
Yeah, totally agree with that. That's one of the things that just drew me to you, Regina. Like you're so passionate about what you do, and I absolutely love that. So I know that the tribe knows that they're blessed to have you as well. So I know that a lot of school districts across the whole nation are just kind of doing COVID a little differently. Like some places have masks, some are still virtual, some have hybrid, some are having the plexiglass. What are some of the changes that have been made in your community that you see in districts and schools?
So like I said, we deal with a lot of school districts. We have about 13 schools that we keep in retention, that we do some kind of mandatory or voluntary collaboration and partnership with. And so anybody that wants to collaborate with us, anybody that wants to partner with us, and we have tribal members there or Native students or that we're close by. So we try to share our resources with that school so that we know that our Iowa tribal members are being serviced, Native students are being serviced, and then whatever we can do to help the community is always a really good thing. But what we see from students coming in is most of the primary grades, I would say third grade and under, they're not required to wear masks. The older students, they are required to wear masks. I hear stories about how they're not, when they're at their desk, they can take them off, or in the lunchrooms and stuff, but it's quite an adjustment. What we're finding as the tribe when we were trying to make sure that our students had all the resources that they needed was when we first started looking at masks, we did care packages during the summertime to one of our groups, our Unity group and Talking Circle. And we were thinking, oh yeah, we need to get them a mask, like you would get a student a backpack. But what we came across real quick was masks are not a school supply. They're a piece of clothing now. And so you need enough masks to be able to wear them like you would socks. You have to change those. You have to wash those. And so, everybody is rethinking, what does it take now to go to school? And so I think we've had so much change in such a small amount of time that we've had to have those conversations. There you go. And, we do with our tutoring and stuff that we offer our tribal members, we have the glass partitions and the social distancing, and we provide the masks and the face shields and the hand sanitizer. So even just organizations, I can see how that has put a hardship also on the school districts, because these are extra things that we're all having to purchase. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm going to pass it on. I see AQ up there ready to go too. So
Smiling.
smiling. AQ, take it away.
Okay. Well, Regina, I'm going to move on to asking you, tell us about the tribal education program.
Okay, so I'm so glad you asked, AQ. Thank you for asking.
Welcome.
A lot of people that aren't tribal don't understand what a tribal education program is. And so I think here, I'm so blessed. The tribe really embraces that wraparound approach in education. And we've just built so much in a short amount of time. But what we try to provide here through the Iowa tribe is for our tribal members, it's a supplement to the public education that they're getting. So between the public education and the tribal education together, it should be equivalent to what you would receive in a private education. Kids, Iowa tribal members should be, receiving services that are supplementary to each other. And so within a school system, you have students, but then you also have this Indian Education Act that provides a certain dollar amount per Native student that attends school there that is to be supplement for Indian students. And then you have tribal education programs. So that could be a triple effect there to how that should create and support education within the lives of those tribal members. And many times there's things that we can do as a tribe, like we have a library here that we offer. It's a public library. So we have a public library here at the tribe that we offer free tutoring for anybody online from 10 o'clock in the morning to midnight, 7 days a week, because it doesn't cost us any more for our tribal members and anybody who goes to our URL and partners with our tribe than it does just for our tribal members. So we're always looking for creative ways that we can bring to the table of ESSA consultations, ways that we can also be an asset to the school system. And so you're fostering that relationship of everybody bringing something. And although it is geared towards Native students and Iowa tribal members in particular on our end, we can also have that inclusion and that development of those relationships where it's important. It's important to a school system we're able to offer, and we can also give back to the community. So
I like that. I like the way that the tribe has each other's backs, as it should, as a tribe. And as I remember, you have a very exclusive catchphrase that you like to use. Would you share that with us?
Excuse me?
The catchphrase, it's 2 words. It goes positively pushy.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, let me tell you something. I just started this youth group. We just started these youth groups in 2017. Okay. So this was a whole year of somebody coming right in. I mean, I had not been here 2 weeks And I started this summer youth work program because this was the vision of the tribe. And so I rounded up 10 of these tribal members and came in and we taught them careers through the week. And on Fridays, I was going to teach this class about this scholarship curriculum that I had developed over the years. And it was very evident right off that they just weren't having it at first, you know. And so how do you get to kids that are looking at you like this is something they'd never heard before? So I just coined the phrase of being positively pushy, you know. That Miss
Yes.
Riley, here she comes, you know. So, you know,
We need to
I
have that flying
constantly
across the screen.
there you go. I
Yes,
just
definitely.
constantly pick at myself, you know. I was just like, you can be pushy, and sometimes you have to be pushy, especially when you're advocating for underrepresented populations. But you can also try to be positive in that way. So
Right.
yes, positively pushy.
Definitely,
So,
definitely. I love that. I really love that about, your approach and, how you influence everyone around you, which is very important and vital. The next question, it says, in regards to COVID, what are some of the plans that your community has for dealing with the rest of the school year, and what kind of planning takes place?
are you saying outside of COVID
Yes,
or because of
Be-
COVID?
because of COVID, in regards to COVID.
In regards to COVID. Okay, so
Yeah.
just as much as everybody else, we're
Mhm.
all offering virtual,
Okay.
everything in any way, shape, or form. We have to go virtual because we need that social distancing. One of the things we started this summer with our library was how do we get literature inside the homes? How do we get literature inside of homes of people that our library was actually closed at that time? So we started a weekly story hour. So we had this story time and we brought different departments in, different guests to read the stories so that they could kind of learn what departments we had here to offer tribal members. And sometimes they were public departments, but we were getting kids to listen. We were getting kids to read along with us with the books. And then we offered some kind of activity. So we partnered with different organizations that would give us, sometimes they were free zoo tickets. Sometimes it was ice cream. Sometimes it was just door prize drawings. And so they had some kind of activity that had some kind of financial literacy within that. And so they mailed those back to us and we were able to award on that basis. And that was open to the entire public. We now have opened our library by appointment only. And we can only have 2 people in the library at the same time. But we do curbside checkouts. We have bags of books that have 5 or 6 books, age appropriate, from babies all the way up to adults. And so we're actually putting literature in a bag, taking it out to your car. You call us, we'll take it out there. We'll social distance the handoff. When you bring them back, we're going to quarantine those books. We sanitize them and then put them back into circulation in kits. So we have these kits. We also do virtual events. Our youth group now is meeting online. The Talking Circle meets quarterly. Our community group meets monthly. And so we've been able to find creative things to do. The kids are now doing, and I say we, but it's youth led. They do it themselves. So, like last time, we have a council person and she made virtual bingo. And so they did virtual bingo. I think this Saturday they're going to play virtual Family Feud, you know, so just finding creative ways to be together, we have found has approached that it just develops that wraparound, and especially, you know, things like the college fair. So we have the online tutoring that's open through the public, through the library. But for our tribal members, we have Zoom tutoring. So anywhere in the country, a tribal member can schedule an appointment and we will Zoom tutor their homework, because sometimes they need to see that face, you know, sometimes they need more than just the virtual tutor. And then we do appointment tutors so they can make an appointment and we socially distance between those tutoring appointments and stuff. But I'm going to save the college fair towards the end. I know that's like
not there yet.
failing the first nationwide ever platform. So we will save that to the end, and hopefully everybody will stay and listen till the end. So
Okay, so my final question, I know Karen is waiting. She don't want to be a Karen right now. You don't want to be, she's waiting. What are some of the creative ways that the tribe has kept the attention of its members in a remote fashion?
I think that's played a lot onto the adults. And so the adults have had to take the initiative to outreach. No longer can we have departments that just are there for services. we have to outreach our tribal members. We have to outreach the community. And so that positively pushing us, that comes into factor, you know. So I tell you, one time somebody told me, to reach kids, you have to go where kids are. Well, where are kids right now? Yes, they're physically at home. They're physically social distancing as much as they can, but they are on social media. They are on virtual platforms. I'm sorry. So you have this grandma, Miss Riley, that is Snapchatting and Instagramming and all these kind of things to be able to keep their retention. And, you know, sometimes if we can just have a little humor at ourselves, you know, that's enough. That's enough glue to get everybody together and talking and just seeing what happens next, you know. So
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I think one of the things that sticks out in my mind, in you wearing many hats, being creative, the engagement of the students, and just the effort that you're putting in is just amazing. So I commend you for that, because if you just kind of sit in your spot and stay where you are, you're not going to grow. And we have this huge worldwide pandemic going on, and it's forcing us out of our box. And I just think it's so interesting, all of the things that you've mentioned that you're trying to do to keep that student engagement going. And we touched on it a little bit. You've done a lot of research, and you all are doing a college fair, and I know you're super excited about it. So I must ask, I know it's November 18th. Could you tell our audience a little bit about what that would look like?
well, I'm so glad you asked me, Karen. But before I unveil that, I would like to say, though, that I am so blessed. I think most tribal education departments are, to the fact that the tribes value education. And so it's really less about me and more about the vision of the tribe. So I consider myself to be the facilitator of what their vision is. And I've just been very blessed that no matter how crazy or far-fetched the idea that I have presented to our business committee and tribe, you know, as long as I had solid backing, you know, they've supported. And because tribes want to make sure that each generation is getting the maximum amount of benefit that they can receive. So, you know, I just hats off to the Iowa tribe and their vision for what they wanted before they even found me, you know. But I will say that I will tell you this little story. My kids are like, why are you always talking to us in stories? Because sometimes you can talk in stories and people can figure out what they want to do versus what you're trying to tell them to do. So as long as you're relatable, and then sometimes that they can, sometimes they can relate to that. And so I'm going to tell these stories for every tribal department, education department that's out there, anybody who works in education. I was watching the news and I saw this virtual college fair and I stopped. I usually don't watch much TV, but I was kind of watching as I came through the living room, and I stopped, and it looked like a game. It was a video game. It was an avatar. And people were walking around in this virtual environment. And I stopped and I was thinking to myself, well, that's interesting. And I was keeping in mind that this would have been our 5th year to host a college fair. Now we have about 900 people that come through that on an invitation only, plus our tribal members through that event, between the recruiters and the students. And I was just trying to think to myself, I was thinking to myself, our education program since 2016, the last data that I put together, has grown 160.288% in retention. Now, I attribute a lot of that to the wraparound approach and to the programs that we've been able to develop to make sure that people are engaged along the way and not just one and done semesters. But what are we going to do? This college fair for our remote area is sometimes maybe one of the only things that our tribal members that are local get exposed to. And so I was thinking about this when I was going through this, watching this show, and I was thinking to me, what about higher education? Why couldn't we do this in higher education? So it wouldn't have some of the aspects that I was seeing on TV, but in a way it would have everything that I was seeing on TV. Wow. And so I just picked up the phone and called and emailed the University of Oklahoma, Michael Aguilera, He's the professor and director of the esports there at the university. And I just threw out my idea. Now, why he wants to listen to some little positively pushy person way out here in Perkins, Oklahoma,
There's that
I
banner
was
again.
just fortunate that he is just a caring soul, and he had always been interested in finding creative ways to reach education platforms. And he really believed in this esports. And so from that conversation led many, many other conversations. And about a month later, we were able to sign a contract with Gamer Jibe. It's the esports club for OU, but they are their own independent company, Gamer Jibe. And we just have been working together for months, countless hours, many, many, many hours. Oh my God. On their end, on my end. And Miss Riley has lots of program vision, but I'm not techie, bless their hearts. And sometimes it's up until 10 o'clock at night and just figuring out how this is going to look. So I know what it needed on the education side and how we could protect underage students when they were coming in. They had this great big giant platform that's in its infancy, that hadn't been used in this way before. But believe me, this is not the last. This is going to be the very first. We're the first ones that we see across the nation that has done this before. But it's going to be just multiple people. So what I want people to do is to really listen to what we're doing, watch us, follow us on social media. Although you can't get into this event, it's going to be live streamed portion of it, and it's going to be put out there on how it's been used and what's effective, and changes I'm sure will be made after we're the first dry run to go through. But we have 790 students from 13 school districts that have RSVP'd for this event. Outside of our Iowa tribal members, they have their own unique reservation because this event is for them. Although we're helping the community, this event is for them. And every booth has a door prize. So even students that aren't interested, maybe I'm not going to college, I don't really need to do that. We have colleges, VOTEX, military wraparound services, and then every booth is offering a door prize. Everybody likes door prizes. So everybody likes the game. And so they'll come in, and maybe the intentions are in reaching those door prizes that they will have conversations that are fostering opportunity that they will remember. Each student will get a site, and it'll have the school or the program, a contact name and email, and they can go home, talk to their parents, and they can find that person again. It's not just a one and done. And so what I liked about this virtual format is because with COVID, schools can't, we just can't. Tribes, schools, we just can't put that many students together anymore.
Right.
But this is a virtual platform in gaming and esports where they walk their avatar through the room that I think kids are going to like. It's going to hold their attention. Adults will be able to use this in ways they've never done before without Zoom. It's audio. There's just all different kinds of components. Well, I was walking through the environment and I posted some to our Iowa Tribe of Oklahoma Higher Education Facebook page. I posted some pictures and a little video, and there's a virtual coffee bar, there's a juice bar, there's a dance floor, though you can make s'mores, you can fish, but the bigger, it's a higher education platform that's in a game that there's something for everybody. And we're just very excited. As the school districts have their RCPs, they'll come in every half hour, and it'll be also a time-space continuum. So although they're not going to get lost. So we have hundreds of kids that come in at one time. They're going to be in a space in time that only 30 students are going to be represented at one time. So they'll be able to see the timeline on the side and bounce back and forth between the instances and talk to each other. There's like little cafes and zones where kids can talk to each other and interact with the recruiters. They can screen share. There's just so much that they can do that I think probably our limitation is going to be the lack of time that we have with the kids. Because one, they are in school. But two, if a school is virtual, or a classroom is virtual, or even one student is virtual because of COVID affecting their lives, they're not going to be left behind. So no student should be left behind in this world of technology. And I think this is just a great way to foster that environment. But kids are
Oh,
tired.
definitely.
They're tired of the regular Zoom. They do that all day, every day sometimes, and they're just
Zoomed out. You hear
they're
that
zoomed
phrase.
out. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
not that Zoom's a great platform, but we gotta stop and remember, let's go to where the kids are at. And the kids,
Right,
and this
right.
is something that I think the kids are going to be just fascinated with.
You can clearly, just by your description, tell how much effort and work and research that you've put into this. And I just think it sounds interesting. I personally would call the coffee bar. That would be me. Maybe AQ would be on the dance floor. I don't know. We'd have a little something for everybody. But like you said, when you mentioned the door prizes and having something for everybody, it lends itself to that organic conversation. It's not, you have to go to college, you have to sit here and listen to what I have to say. It's just a natural, relaxed environment that allows conversations to open up. And that's really important. And you talked about telling things through stories. I mean, that's another way to do it as well. There's a difference in talking with people and getting information across and then talking at people. And sometimes in education, we forget that and we lose that art. So I can really see how you're going to have them engaged. And this is going to be an amazing first event for you guys. And I know that you are just going to take it in amazing places. Thinking about the tutoring and education services and the partnerships that you've had with local schools, has that pretty much been the same over the past few years, or do you notice more collaboration needed at this moment due to COVID?
I think that the tribal collaborations was something that was very needed. And so I'm very impressed with the state of Oklahoma putting out that blueprint guide so that those conversations could begin to redirect into Native students in an education format that is also culturally inclusive. Because in education, we can't change anything we don't know, but we sure
Right.
can learn and do better. And that's with all people. And we're just fortunate enough right now that this is from an Indian education grant. But we've always had the desire, and I know the tribes always had the desire to work with the school systems. And so, for instance, our tutoring program, our tutor.com, we've always had that in the library as long as I've been here. But it wasn't an essential until COVID hit. And people were panicked. They didn't know what they were going to do. Not just tribal people, all people were panicked. And we were able to say, hey, we have this is how you use it. We put instruction manuals out step by step. So I do staff development for teachers, because if teachers know how to use our programs there, then it's a better chance that our students are going to be better serviced. And
Oh, definitely.
I haven't really talked about our scholarship portfolio program, but we implemented that back in 2016 when I first started here. And a lot of that is just having those conversations, in families that may not have had those conversations before. And so, and they don't always start out, just like you said, college, this, that. And the tribe here values higher education and VOTEC and trade school and college. And so just knowing that education is different now, whether your parents have a college degree or they don't, even if you had a college degree from years ago, education now is different.
Yes.
They need to have all tribal members when they come through. Once we begin having those conversations with our scholarship portfolio program, and they're learning what's the difference between community service and volunteer work. Well, what is the difference between community service and volunteer work? Community service is a good thing to have. It's not a punishment. It's a good thing in scholarship building. Volunteer work, you're going to do things for one individual or a small group versus community service, a large group or the entire community. And being able to fit your cultural activities and be able to identify these are things that I do. It's not just something that I don't think about, I just do it. And being able to compile those in a resume and a portfolio, culture and organizations and school and different things that make you in a constructive plan that is fits the entire year. You know, what am I going to do between January and March, and then March to June, and how am I going to fill these categories? Well, I've had some people say, you know, does it mean less when kids are working that program because they have to do it, or they know they're supposed to do it to be scholarship ready? Not really, because they're learning traits and behaviors that make us all better citizens. They make us all. So regardless of what they choose at the end of the road, they're learning things and components on how to self-identify and how they fit within their communities and what they can do to solve problems. So I always tell, what's the issue? What's something that you can do? What's something that you need help with? And what's something we can do together? So, you know, I think those are just conversations that everybody kind of knows, but when you put them together in a scholarship building program, it kind of makes sense. It's like, oh,
Definitely.
Yeah, you know.
Well, I think it's amazing because I used to tell students all the time, you need to learn every day, and no one can take your education away from you. You can lose your car, your house, your money, but what you've learned, you're going to retain, and you need to just keep filling that bucket. So whether you're going to go to college, you're going to do some sort of vocational training, you're just sitting in your high school classes, you've got to let all of that absorb. And I think you all have a really big focus on that, which is amazing. And it seems like if there is a concern, you come up with a plan. So we have all these.
We come up with that plan together. And
Yes.
so that was one thing that when I came to my interview here, I was trying to talk to the people that were interviewing me, and I love them, but I was trying to explain to them. I know one of them asked me, he said, you keep saying we did this, we did that. From my past experiences. And, you know, it is a partnership. It is a we.
Yes.
I may be a department of one, but it is we. It is me. It's the families. It's the student. It's the tribe. And it takes everybody coming together. It does take a community to help a student and let the student lead and be with that student to make them successful. But we have to do it collectively, or it's just not going to happen. That wraparound is important to.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in any environment, you're going to get so much further with collaboration than you would if you were tucked in your little corner. And we've learned so much about you today, all the effort you've put in, all the hats that you're wearing. And this isn't necessarily a question, but just a comment. So, as an advisor, you've taken one hat and you've spread it out to about 20, because you're coming up with creative ideas, you're meeting with families, you're covering the scholarship stuff, the library. Did you ever anticipate having all these hats, or is it just one of those things you go with the flow and you just kind of do the best that you can?
Well, let me tell you, Karen, you just got to know Miss Riley.
Snapchat. See, that's
all. That's all I can really say right there. Is that everybody watching this episode, I'm sorry, but you know, if you know me, you know that this is positively pushy. But
yes,
this right here,
amazing.
Education allowed me to be where I am today, and I love my job. I love the program development. I never thought I would be in a job or work for a tribe that I always knew I wanted to work for a tribe, but I didn't know that I would work for a tribe that would be so supportive. And, you know, I don't think that I've ever really been told no. I've been told not yet, or, you know, how would it look like in this way? But anything positive, I don't think I've been told no. And so that's just so much opportunity there. And so I just feel like I work 110% all the time, 110%, because at the end of every day, I want to know that I've done everything I could for somebody. Because if it was me on that somebody, I would want somebody to do everything they could for me. And so I think that having those programs, you don't really know where they're going to lead. It was just the perfect kids with the perfect person, with the perfect BC, with the perfect tribe at the same time. And it's just kind of like, I tell them all the time, I tell my kids all the time, you're the special sauce, you know, they're just the special sauce in this. And it is just rolled like a ball of yarn. So, I'm very excited. And I know that if it wasn't for education, I went back to school late in life. And if it wasn't for education, I could be doing something that I hate going to work for. And I love going to work. I love coming here. And I love the population I serve through that servant leadership. And I like for kids to look at that, or people to look at that, and it be contagious in their life. They could say, that's what education did for her. Look at her. Now she can be crazy sometimes. And, oh, look at her. She up there at 8:30 at night, but
She learned Snapchat.
yeah, there you go. But having that passion, education gave me the boat to be able to use the passion.
Well, your passion just flows just through your conversation. I could feel it through the screen. It's almost like we're all in the same room together, and you just feel that energy, and that's so amazing. And the willingness to put those hours in, to do the research. And like you said, the 110%, when we're in education, we are changing lives, hopefully for the better. But you've got to be creative. You got to have the engagement. You've got to have your students on board, and whatever direction you're helping them go in, you're helping them see beyond themselves, and that's amazing. And I just take my hat off to you for all the things that you've done, and so much appreciate. But I so enjoyed learning about you and the tribe and the education, and this is one of our best episodes. I was really excited to do this interview, so thank you.
Right,
and I'd like to say that this is a very small tribe. I'm just one person, and you can do things. Don't be afraid to fail. You can do things. You can ask for help. You can have ideas and see them through too. Like, I really thought this college fair would never. I was just thinking, oh, this isn't going to work, but maybe it will. Maybe it will, and it is. So,
that's amazing.
Don't be afraid to make those partnerships. I'm going to consider all of you guys right here a partner with me, ICPs, and you won't be rid of me. So
we don't want to be rid of you. So
this is the beginning.
No, not at all.
Well, we love Educational-Caffe. We love ICP teams. And like you said, when you come into work, you're loving it, and that helps propel you forward as well. So it is, and that's something that we teach our students. If you're going to go to work every day, don't make it just work. Make it a career, something that you love, something that you're passionate about. And if you look at everybody on this panel, we are all passionate about education, about our students, about making people better. And it's fun to be in that environment. It's fun to collaborate and meet other people that are like-minded in that way. So that's been really fun.
All right, and great stuff here. Regina, what I'd like to say in closing is thank you to the Iowa Tribe of Oklahoma Higher Education and yourself for the amazing things that you guys are doing. And I'm sitting here listening to all this stuff, and it's been an amazing experience. And as I say that, for me, there are no goodbyes. It's what do we move on from here, and that is to help everybody. So, and I wanted to share with my panels as well as a takeaway, and for the audience listen out there, it's okay in life to kind of open up to new experiences and to learn about each other. I have the opportunity of doing that on a very large scale globally. And like I said, I continue to do that. And that's how, me personally, I kind of challenge myself to learn new things and learn about other stuff that people are doing that, that I can be a part of and find ways to help. We're in this together. So, like I said, in closing, I just want to say thank you. AQ, you can chime in on your thoughts and takeaway.
I took a lot away from this interview. Thank you, Regina, for being so insightful, positively pushing, and amazing. It's such a blessing in disguise because you never know where life may take you, and everything happens for a reason. And the road has not ended yet, and everything will improve and get better. I love this show. I love being a part of it. And to all our viewers, do not forget to like, comment, share. Don't forget to press that subscriber button down below with post notifications for any new content that we are bringing to you.
And Meg?
Oh no, it's great. I like, subscribe, and share. And I just got a TikTok.
Okay, TikTok.
People have to get on those things.
Oh my gosh.
Where the students go. Students,
Hmm.
I will find you.
Y'all are forcing me in the future. Oh my gosh.
Right. Karen.
My final takeaway is, there's certain situations that'll force you into a corner or into a box, and you've got to really self-reflect and decide what you're going to do with that situation. So COVID is something that I personally never imagined, and it's affecting just about every single person in the world, and you have to decide, what are you going to do with that time? So we're going to come upon other situations that'll be like that. And when you get backed into a corner or you get stuck in a box, make sure you look within yourself, because you're greater than the situation. You can move forward. Be creative, be positively pushy, be engaging, and make that situation better for yourself.
Okay. And Regina, we saved the best for last, but I just want to say, elders, thank you as well. But Regina, you got this.
Yes.
Your takeaway.
Oh, my takeaway. Okay. That's where the age comes in, because you're trying to follow up, I would just encourage people to make partnerships, just make sure that you find those creative ways to make a new normal. Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean it won't be the new normal, and I just think that I personally, an older person, would have never looked in esports, but take that chance and learn new things to make sustainability through programs that you already have. So,
All right, guys. All right. Well,
Definitely.
thank you. So, guys, remember again, look out for us, for our next couple of episodes. And as AQ said, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell, because you know what? We want to stay connected. So have an amazing week, and we'll see you on our next episode. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.